Welcome. This is Scott from My Life's Reward. We are at the Evart Motorcycle area near Evart, Michigan. This area that we're riding came recommended by one of our riding partners, Keith. Thank you, Keith. I always thought it was strictly limited to 24 inches or less. However, there are so many roads throughout where the 24-inch trails are that it's a great time. It also includes an unofficial scramble area known as the Sugar Bowl. So consider grabbing a chair, sit down and relax, and let's explore this area together.
At the Evart Motorcycle Trailhead. I just left it. I'm on a like a 2-track. I have my quad won't be able to ride on the motorcycle trails because they're 24-inch trails, but there's plenty of other roads around that you can ride. At least I don't see any signs that say you can. So we're gonna check it out. See what happens. So Friday, I have a little story for you guys. On Friday, my wife and I took my mother-in-law for her birthday to Manitowoc via the Badger out of Ludington, and that was on Friday, and that went well. I would say maybe the waves were 4 to 6 feet, somewhere in that range, maybe 3 to 4 feet. Hard to tell when you're on a bigger boat. I could tell you off of my boat what the waves were, but it did make the boat rock a bit more normal than what would have been normal. And before we actually got off, so we left Friday morning, I think it left at 9 o'clock, 8 or 9, I think it was 9, I don't know, I don't remember. It was in the early morning. When we arrived at Manitowoc, we got a message that said the return trip that we were going to take the next day, Saturday, which had been, I believe, the 6 o'clock, was canceled. All the trips were canceled for Saturday because of forecasted steady 20-mile-an-hour winds, 15 to 20 with gusts up to 40. And we did look at fortunately we had our vehicle. We took our vehicle across, and that allowed us to get back. And when we traveled from Manitowoc to Two Rivers, and then we continued north to Green Bay, and then we wrapped around the Upper Peninsula, the waves were significant. They were large waves, so it was probably a good call. They say that they would be able to, that the crew is fine with traveling over, but most of the passengers are not comfortable with that. There's a lot of problems with that, whether it's seasickness or just overall complaints, don't know. But I think they've been around the block enough that it's better for them just to cancel to avoid having bad experiences, customer bad experiences. So anyway, now let's strange for us. This was the last weekend. What is it? Today's date here. It's let me look at today's date. It is October 6th. So it's Sunday when I'm doing this ride here at Evart. So we went over on Friday, October 4th, and then we drove back yesterday, Saturday the 5th. And it is the last, I believe it's the last scheduled, yes, it's the last scheduled Badger trip for the season. Well, last year we went over and it was probably, I think, August time frame. We did not take our vehicle because we had friends that were over in Manitowoc and Two Rivers, and we spent 2 days with them, and they took us around, and we didn't need a vehicle. Well, on the morning that we were supposed to leave to go back via the Badger on, I think we chose the red eye, not 100% on that. They had an accident with the dock, I believe, on the Ludington side. And it was would have been the port side of the port corner of the dock where the Badger backs up into it. And I guess the mounts or the dock, somehow it failed and either wasn't level or it tilted into the water, not allowing for a secure dock to get people and vehicles on and off, and supplies, of course, and all that. So they canceled our trip last year, and I think that ended up being for the rest of the season. I don't think they were able to repair that. I think they just canceled the remainder of the season. So it must have been August, or maybe even September, not sure. But that's 2 years in a row that we had some experience like that. Now that's not a dig against the folks that take care of the Badger. We've gone on the Badger probably 4 or 5 other times and had absolutely very reliable experiences. So that's just the way things worked out the last 2 times we used it. So we're going to try to work with them to see. They did give us a refund for the next day, probably half the cost of what we paid to do a round trip, I would imagine. My wife took care of that. But I think we're going to work on them and explain what happened last year and what happened this year. And it did cut our trip a little short with our mother-in-law, my mother-in-law, Barbara, because we had a lot of plans to do some things, which we were able to do on Friday. All the things we wanted to do on Friday we did, but Saturday we were only able to do 2 things that we had planned. We probably had, I want to say, probably about 6 to 8 events planned to really take in the Manitowoc Two Rivers experience that we wanted her to have, that we've all experienced. This was the first trip for my mother-in-law, Barbara, and we really wanted her to experience all of that. But we had to cut that short because it takes a heck of a lot longer to make the trip in a car, whether you go through, Milwaukee and back down to Chicago and then come back up, which our destination is Big Rapids, Michigan. But there's no way for me, even if it was just a little bit longer, that I would even want to do that. I would rather go up through the UP. Less traffic, more to see, in my opinion. That's better for me. But it's not just about me, but I think that the family would enjoy, like the Mackinac Bridge and the nice views along Lake Michigan along the way, because we're traveling quite a bit on the shoreline. And so that's sort of where we ended up. So we got back late last night, about 11 o'clock at night. Well, this is pretty nice. How deep? It doesn't look like it gets so deep, but maybe some bass out there. It's deep enough. There's a beaver house out in the middle, so it's probably not that deep. Well, pretty neat. Very, very windy today. And the temperature's supposed to drop. It goes probably close to, it was in the high 60s at the beginning of the day, up through noon. And I think the temperature's going to slowly drop as the afternoon progresses on, and as we get into the evening, I think it's going to be about a 15-degree drop. I mean, I'm not even talking about dark, I'm talking about before it even gets dark. I think it's going to be cold the next couple of days. Well, this was a nice little view. So that was our experience this past weekend. Still had a lot of fun. And I'm always about having, I don't like life-threatening crisis, that sort of thing at all. No, who would? But I like situational crises like that, where, okay, now what are we going to do? And to me, it presents opportunities like that we wouldn't have done otherwise. Like I wouldn't have seen the Mackinac Bridge this weekend. I know I did go to Drummond Island last weekend, and I was able to go across Mackinac Bridge, but my wife and my mother-in-law, had this not happened, they wouldn't have never been up in the Upper Peninsula this year and got to see the Mackinac Bridge. So I look at it as a opportunity, and yep, it takes more time, but you know, we see a lot of sights. There's a lot to see in the small towns. Like, you know, they talk about, you know, small town progress and how they're kind of left behind, and you know, in the UP and all that. And you know, I look at that as it's a positive to me, because maybe they don't have the infrastructure. Maybe they don't have as a reliable electrical grid, or maybe high-speed internet or whatever, but as time progresses on, some of that stuff just doesn't matter with generators and satellite access to internet. But you know, where they have it going on is, and I admire the folks, they don't touch, in a lot of cases, when you get into these small towns, as you move through these small towns in the UP, is they don't touch the stuff that people built back in the day. Old courthouses, or you know, old just downtown buildings. They were smart enough to keep that stuff all intact, and that's what towns that are in these progressive areas are, you know, they're trying to build back. They're, you know, they let them go and either demolished them, so there's not even an opportunity to bring it back. Big Rapids is a perfect example where they, you know, demoed the courthouse, the original courthouse. Just stuff like that, you know. I mean, Big Rapids does have a nice downtown area, but a lot of the historic buildings were demoed. They were demoed in order to have progress, whatever that progress was. I guess you could say the same thing about Ferris. Ferris is taking down buildings that, I mean, in some cases I agree with it, the old resident hall buildings and things, but I don't know. Just sometimes to me it's not progress. All right, well that looks pretty iffy right there. Doesn't look like a lot is holding that baby up. It's a poplar tree. Bucket to split. Good gust of wind to take that down. Like a good way to go right there, didn't it? Let's see what that looks like. Alright. I'm making this up as I go, folks. Let's see, that would have done an inside track and would have followed. But then it would have ended. What's this other one doing? This other one would go way out of the go for the shorter route. It's not supposed to rain, it's just supposed to get cold. Well, anyway, that was a great experience going through some of those small towns in the Upper Peninsula. Just beautiful downtowns. Just seemed like, well, we only went through maybe one or two that we could see that were on our way, but you know, in previous trips, I've gone through plenty of other towns in the Upper Peninsula. Wow, it's just where I want to be, you know. But I'm not really sure that is compatible with. I think that, you know, I don't know if that's compatible with my family. And you know, what's also compatible with me is being on a nice piece of property with a cabin type thing on a lake. And I just don't want neighbors too close. And just having something like that, I think that would be great. Alright, that's an interesting area here. So, my wife she's worked hard all her life, you know. She deserves to have what she wants too, just like me. And there's so many things that we share in things that we like to do. And we can find some way to, she wants to be on a lake, I don't know, a nice cottage or cabin type thing. So there you go, there's great common ground there to do something together that will make us both happy. She wants something that can be passed along generationally from within the family to our children and their children. That was something that was taken away from me or our family. I mean, it's not anybody's fault, it's just what happened. We had a family cabin in Curran And it's still in the family, it's just on a different side of the family. That's not that we don't spend a lot of time with. So, my dad chose to go in a different direction. He wanted to build something different somewhere else, and he didn't really want to have that family cabin. That wasn't important to him. Or at least not as important, I shouldn't say it wasn't important. And so he sold his half, though I did have an opportunity. He said, if you can purchase the other half from his brother, if we can come up with the money, then let's do it. Which was nice, except I had 3 kids at the time, and I didn't have as much money as I would be able to do today. This looks very interesting here. This looks like we're on Drummond Island. That is quite something. So that just didn't work out. So that kind of... And I spent a lot of time on as I grew up, all the way from being a baby to my teenage years, not only with my family, but my grandfather, and I spent a lot of time at his cabin. That was, his. Turkey hunting, deer hunting, morale picking, doing maintenance around the place. I wish I had that time back. I wish I had. It'd be so great to have one of those trips back and be able to talk to my grandfather. And what I wouldn't give for 5 minutes to talk to my grandfather. Just take those moments for granted that that person's always going to be there, and then they're not there. And I try to make every minute count, with every second count with my grandkids. I try to do the things that I think that they like, at the same time making sure that they have boundaries and good values. Well, this is very, very nice in here. I am really enjoying this. See, I'm kind of getting off course here a bit. But we can remedy that if we get on the road. All of a sudden I'm going south. I would have never thought that. I would have thought I was going north. That's a nice little ride through the woods. So it's been a good weekend. Lots of stuff has happened, and I had a bonus ride with the weather being as nice as it is, which I know it's getting cold, but it's still not raining. I didn't really plan on this ride today. I thought, why not? Let's do this. Something in here. There's quite something. I wanted to bring Pixie along, my golden retriever, but first time I've tried it. Probably should have thrown a tape measure on it, but I took the box off the Polaris, which is attached with trucker's hitches and paracord, which is super easy to do. And I went to put it on this, and it's not wide enough, or the box is too wide for the racks. I was I could have taken, now that I think about it, I could have taken the racks off. Oh well. I should say the rack, not the racks. Looks like we're going in a big circle. So let's see, covered the trip this weekend on the Badger on the way back, the towns, UP. Oh yeah, there are actually two towns on each side of the border on the route that we took back. Moving across the river, I don't remember the name of the river, but both towns were set up quite nice. They were, but one in each state. Wisconsin on the one side and then coming into Michigan on the other. Menominee was the name of the one in Michigan. I don't remember the other one. Okay, so we're on the other side of that. We're on the other side of that water. We're kind of going to go back up and meet ourselves back on the trail where we were, I think. Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah, we basically just went around that whole water feature. Okay, that was nice. Watch out for wire. You never know, you don't want to go on private property. You don't know when somebody's going to stretch wire across. I think this is all public lands, but I'm not 100% sure. So let's see, we talked about that. Badger, going through UP. We did do the Drummond trip last weekend. That was 2 days on Drummond. And on the way up, we did the Frederick Trail. That would be the South Loop. And on the way back, I did Kyle and I did Crapo Creek. My son Kyle. That was a lot of riding last weekend. That was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday deal. And then this next weekend, which was, when you see all these videos, they will already have happened. But let's see, the 6th, and 7th is 13, so the 12th. We are tentatively scheduled to ride St. Helens. And part of the reason why I'm riding this today is I wanted to see if maybe this was a contender to ride. Alright, so this is something that we already rode. So right, that cobblestone trail going up a hill. Don't turn right, go straight. Yep, same tree. Okay. As far as work and retirement, I want to get out. I want to retire as quickly as I can. I just don't know. I don't know. I just know. I don't know. It just goes. I wish we're going to be in great shape. We're going to be in great shape. I have a pension. As long as the state of Michigan honors the pension. Michigan public school system pension. I should say if we don't have everything, the government doesn't fall apart, which goes. And then Social Security and 403, which are like 403B, like 401k savings. Have that I don't really want to work anymore. Things are changing so much. There's that thing you're not supposed to tell people what your plans are. You just keep it to yourself. Let's say if your workplace knows, they might use that against you, or if people at work know, it might not be as effective if you're in a leadership position or in a peer position. I'm a little bit more transparent. I'd rather have people know what my intentions are so that people can make plans. That same truck. Alright, here's that cobblestone road that just took us around that whole lake, or the other side of the lake. What do we got there? Horse manure. Right off. Sometimes the weather people get it right. Most of the time they don't. Decision to make here. Alright, so we got ourselves a road. And if we go right, we're going to go back. We don't want to do that. We're going to go left. Got ourselves a blind spot. It's just like a parking area. I turned 60, as you know, if you've watched my videos. I did the birthday video. When I turned 59, probably, I recognize I'm going to be retiring soon. Turning 60, it's an eye-opener. Now I have a 6 in my first digit, not a 5 anymore. And it just makes you think about your mortality. It makes you think differently. It makes me think differently. And it's like, what am I going to do? Can I make things happen sooner than I planned? So we're following the easterly track. So just over there is the 24-inch trail. And there's something called whoa, that was hard. There's something called a snowhole around here. I do want to put eyes on that. We got 32%. Well, I tell you, when you don't connect it wirelessly in Bluetooth, it sure lasts a lot longer. So I've had the camera on for about 40 minutes, and I still have a third of the battery left, a little less than that. So in theory, I should be able to go another 15 minutes thereabouts. Whew, it's cooling off. So I guess I have a request for you all. How would you feel about a decluttering video? So, I'm turning 60, or I turned 60, and I have stuff that I've accumulated all of my life, and that I've got from other family members, and my dad is still, he's 84, and he has a lot of stuff, and he hasn't really gotten rid of much, and he accumulated a lot of stuff from his parents that he still has. It's like I kind of want to sort of break that cycle. I don't want to take things away from my kids that if they want it, but at the same time, I don't want to burden them with a bunch of cleanup that they have to do. Okay, according to this, I want to keep going straight. I want to do that little left. No, that's left. So I want to go there. That doesn't look like a very good way to go. Well, it looks like it continues, so I'll try it. Why not? We can always turn around. Now that I look at it, it looks pretty good. So do this. So I want you, if you would, comment in the below as far as what your thoughts are on a decluttering video, and that might be something that may help others on how I might go about doing that. Because right now I'm working occasionally at my dad's, trying to clean things up. I've got, with the help of my sisters, I've got one bedroom more or less done. in the house. And then we have the attached garage that is almost, I would say 2/3 of it's done. And then I have the pole barn that's attached. It's a big pole barn. And that's what I'd like to hit next, is try to take care of as much of that stuff in the next year as I can. Maybe you don't sell it, maybe you just organize it in boxes so that when my dad passes, there's an estate sale of some sort and everything's ready to go, and then you just put it on tables, or you have an auctioneer type of a thing happen, whatever happens, So what are your thoughts about that? I have my own stuff. I like to fish, and I like to ride, and you need stuff, and I don't want to get rid of stuff, but at the same time, I haven't touched stuff for years that I think I might need. At some point, you gotta let go. So, kind of, want to do this. I did downsize from 2 storage units to 1, so but I think what I did is I just made the 1 storage unit that I have at my mother-in-law's very efficient, and I packed a lot of SHIT in it, not really taking care of a lot of the problem, I should just do that 1 shelf at a time. Okay, what are we going to do? Just handle it once, and you're going to either keep it, sell it, or give it away. Or give it away / junk it. I was afraid of that high wind today, that poplars that are around this area, and something bad could happen. But I don't see, there doesn't seem to be a lot of wind in the forest here, so I think I'm alright. Okay, so I think we gotta go this way. So if I go that way, it's going to dead end. That right there. Cell signal, nothing. Let's see, so that, let me make this a bit bigger. So that to me is that. I think that's the better route to go. Rocky in here. Back on my retirement place, cabin, property, lake, whatever. My dream, and it's not 100% compatible with my wife Jennifer's, so I can't do that. I can't, but it was buying at least 40 acres and then either buying it with a cabin on it or building a cabin, whether it was stick built or log cabin or something like that. That'd have been something that I wanted to do in my retirement. But resources, we only have so many resources, and I don't want to spread ourselves out so much that we don't have other options. And those other options are, there's a nice deer going off to the left there. There it is, right there. You can see it. Hey, buddy. I didn't mean to scare you, but take care of yourself. You got a hard couple of months coming up. Well, I think I'm going to change the battery out. Wow, there's a hill and a half right there. That's about. Alright, well, as I was saying, I just changed my battery on my GoPro. Stick. Okay. Now, what is that? Is that... Wow, that's probably only for 24 inch. Okay, as I was saying, so I wanted to buy 40 acres, build a cabin, but you can only stretch yourself out so far. And since we both want a nice cottage or cabin on a lake, that's compatible. We can make that work. And we don't like neighbors too close. Neighbors are good, but still have our privacy. So, I think if I modify my list a bit, maybe, if 40 acres comes up and it checks all those, that'd be a miracle. But also, if it's, like maybe only 5 acres, well, maybe that's good enough. That looks interesting right there. Should we do that? Probably just, since I'm by myself, I probably better just not do that. So if we are able to find a nice place on a lake, another tree, precarious tree, that we can pass along generationally, I would check the boxes for Jennifer. I would like that too. And then maybe we get an RV, maybe we don't. Maybe that's just a bad idea. Maybe if we want to camp, maybe we do some sort of a rental or something. But if we camp enough and we like it enough, then maybe we buy something. I don't know. Because we do like to travel, we like to go see places. I like the camping experience. She liked it. I did that for our anniversary last year. We did a nice 2-day camping, 3 days, 2-night camping thing. a rented RV and just to see if we liked it. And we loved it. We were able to take the dogs with us. And it was just a great time. But, you know, the way they're making campers nowadays, they're just making them so cheaply, or if they are made well, they're very, very expensive. That's a hard choice right there. We'll have to see what happens. Huh. Must have some story to it, eh? What are we going here? Let's see. Guy, if there was a way to turn that off, please do that. Alright. That right there. Waypoint on the map. Okay. Let's see here. Well, we're almost to the tippy top. Might as well keep going. I think I'm probably going to have to take this road here. Maybe go up there and then go up there. I'm looking for that. I wish I would have put the waypoint on the map. I thought it was going to be on there. Oh well. Hopefully we'll see it. Okay. Change gears, take it out of reverse. Ourselves a vehicle, folks. This is that White Line Road. Alright, what do we got here? Boy, it's like a can of worms in here, isn't it? I think if we just keep going straight, don't have anybody behind us. Keep going straight, just keep following this road. What is that? We should go investigate. a little track to go around. All right. A bit of a challenge here. All right. Let's keep running this road. Here. That looks pretty iffy.
So far, this has been a great ride. It's definitely a do-over for me, and we haven't even finished yet. I think I'm getting close to the snow bowl. I do have to do a part 2, so I think you're going to see a glimpse of it coming up here. And then we'll really dive into it in part 2 next week. So with that, I want to thank you for stopping by the channel and checking this video out. And until next week, take care.
The most conservative path down. Isn't that one right there?